that. Jude, you're next.
Thanks very much, and thanks very much for being here so quickly after returning from the US. It'll come as no surprise that I'd like to ask you a question about Brexit and the impact. Trade was one of the two big questions. I've spent hours talking to people on doorsteps and in meetings across my region, and trade was one of the two big questions that we had in the EU referendum in the UK. The other was migration and immigration and free movement. And both of them, what people were concerned about was essentially globalisation. They're both linked to concerns about globalisation. Now, my home region, the northeast of England, has a trade surplus. We export more than we import. We're very good at making things still. We have a strong manufacturing base, and people like buying the things that we make and the services that we provide. But despite that, the vast majority of people feel entirely excluded from the benefits of globalisation. And the majority of people, 58% of people in my region, voted to leave the EU. And it was primarily because they feel excluded from the benefits of globalisation. They don't feel that trickle-down economics works in their benefit. There's definitely some politicians who exploited people's fears, who used the opportunity to create myths, to create scare stories. There was a lot of scaremongering. It was pretty grim. They created a lot of anger, and we as a country are going to have to deal with that. But it meant that I was just very concerned when I heard your comments on Monday, and you've repeated them this morning, that basically we should continue business as usual. Because I don't think the UK is unique. I think that anger and that sense that people aren't benefiting from globalisation is something which is across the whole of Europe. You hear it in the debate in lots of European countries. And I think unless we address that in our EU trade policy, looking at the social dimension of our EU trade policy, we won't address that anger, and the danger is that it will spread. And I'd just like your reflection on that. Thank you.
Frau Mineur.